Hey guys, what's up? It's the Average Fat Biker and it is new bike day. Let's go.
You're wondering, well, where's your Skookum? Well, my Skookum frame broke. It broke right at the seat post, and I'll insert the picture here. So it got sent off to Fatback. Fatback honored the warranty on it, and they are sending me a new frame. However, the white Chinook frames, which is the one I had, won't be available until next year. So I am getting the moss frame, which is a green and blue. It'll still be a Skookum, but it's just gonna be a different color. I was a little upset about that, but hey, I'm just thankful to have a nice bike. So wham, 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 right? I'm just very grateful to them. It's covered under warranty, and I'm gonna have it back soon. So that will come within the next couple weeks, I think. But in the meantime, we're gonna try this bad boy out. So here it is. This is the Mongoose Argus Expert. It is a large frame, and I'll talk about some of the features on it. I do have a few upgrades on this bike, and I'll talk about those as well as we go over the bike. So when I got the bike, I actually ordered this off of Amazon. I don't see them on there anymore, and I can't find them on Mongoose's website, so I don't know if this bike is in production any longer. I know they still make the Argus and the Argus Sport and the Malice, but this is the Argus Expert, which came with a front suspension, and it was a little bit more expensive. It came with hydraulic disc brakes and Kenda Juggernaut tires. That was about it. So let's go over some of the features and I'll show you guys what I upgraded and changed on the bike. So one of the first things I upgraded on the bike was the wheels. This is the Sunringlay Mulefoot 80, which has been really nice lightweight wheel. This came from the factory with steel wheels, and I blew out the rear hub at Kingdom Trails when I took this bike there. So the rear hub wasn't quite strong enough. So this is now Sunringlay rear hubs. This is a 26-inch wheel, and it's much lighter than the factory wheels that came on this bike. I am also running Kenda Juggernaut tires, and these tires have been really good. This is a 26 by 4.5, as you can see there. Excuse the light. And it is not a tubeless setup, but these wheels are tubeless ready. So the Sunringlay are tubeless ready. I just never bought a tubeless set for this bike. It did come with front suspension. It came with a RockShox Bluto with 100 millimeters of travel. A lot of people say they don't like the Bluto, that it feels noodly to them. I mean, I never really felt that. Maybe if I was riding on really, really gnarly terrain, I might feel it. But to me, the RockShox Bluto has felt pretty good. Not the best fork in the world, but I honestly think the Bluto was probably the best thing that ever happened to fat biking, because it allowed fat bikes to become more than just a winter-only bike. And really now, fat bikes are pretty popular to the point where you're starting to see them all year round on trails, and this is all I ride. All I ride is a fat bike, so I'm a fat bike 24/7, 365. I don't really like skinny tire bikes anymore, so this is what I ride. But the RockShox Bluto has been a very good fork. It's made it very fun, very responsive, so I really enjoyed having that on there. So one of the other things I did was upgrade the bottom bracket and the crank arms from SRAM. It came with a Shimano kind of rear end and some really weak bottom bracket from Mongoose. And it is a 2x9 system, so 18 speed. And that it does have a clutch on the derailleur, so if you're servicing the bike or anything, it's right there. It's pretty nice. Yeah, it's been a really good drivetrain after that. Now the bike is a little bit heavy. This bike weighed, when I first got it from the factory, weighed over 45 pounds. So I have since dropped the weight down to 38 pounds. Still not a lightweight, but I could drop a little more, maybe another 1.5 pounds with a tubeless tire setup, which I have not done. And if you wanted to install some carbon parts on it, maybe carbon bars, you could get the weight down even more. So maybe this thing could come in at around 35 pounds or so. So not a lightweight by any means. It is a aluminum frame, but it has been a very good bike for me. It has been lots of fun, and even with this weight, it's been pretty responsive. So it's playful, and it can climb up anything. It's not a fast climber, but it will climb. It'll get you up anything. So it's, like I said, it's not the fastest bike in the world, but it is fun. It is really fun. The other additions that I had, which is a game changer, was added the KS dropper post. I don't know exactly how many millimeters of travel it is, but the dropper post will change the way that you ride. It's just really nice. It came with this lever here, so you just actuate it there. So when you hit the button, it shoots back into place. So that's something I added. Now that adds a little weight, but it changed the way you ride. It's just, I don't think I'll ever have a bike without a dropper post for as long as I live. And my new bike does not have one, but I am going to add one. Probably this same one, as a matter of fact, because I really, really liked it and had such good luck with it. And it's still working. It never gave me any problems. And it was simple, it's easy, and I like the over-the-bar lever there. It's really nice. Now it is externally routed. Everything on this bike is externally routed, so there seems to be just a hodgepodge of cables going on up here. I tried to organize, get it as tidy as I could, but it seems like there's a lot going on in the front end here. This bike has really wide bars on it. It is a 35 millimeter alloy bar, so it's pretty wide, which I kind of liked because it made you feel like a kid on it, just, you had the big handlebars, and I really dug the black and orange theme going on there. A lot of people like the bike too. I've gotten a bunch of compliments on it, that it was just a cool looking bike, and it is. It's a very cool looking bike. So it's been really good. This bike has been good for me, and I'm going to be sad to see it go, but I'm also going to be happy that somebody else is going to be fat biking, so that makes me pretty happy. So if you have the chance to buy a Mongoose Argus Expert, would I recommend it? Yes, I would. It's not the most high-end fat bike you can get by any means, but it will serve its purpose. It will get you riding. It will introduce you to the fat bike world, and I would probably, if you get one, I would definitely recommend dropper posts, upgrading the wheels, and the rear hub. You don't necessarily need front suspension. It depends on where you ride. I prefer front suspension on a fat bike, so that's just me. Some people don't, but everybody's different. But definitely, if you can find one, pull the trigger on it, because it's a good bike. This bike was my primary bike for a while, and then once I got the Skookum, it became my backup bike, which it filled its role nicely. So it's been a very good bike for me. There's nothing really special about it. Like I said, it is kind of chunky, kind of heavy, not a lightweight by any means, but it is a very fun bike, and that's what being on a bike is about. It's about having fun. So this bike did that really well. So I think all in all, I have a little over, I don't know, 1,000 miles on this bike, maybe. So it's a really good bike. The Kenda Juggernaut tires are really good. Even though they're not tubeless, they're excellent tires. I've always had excellent traction, no matter what the terrain was, no matter what the weather was. Did ride them in snow, they did pretty good. Did ride them in mud and rain, they did pretty good. Never had any hangups with the Kenda Juggernauts, so never held me back. So the only thing that held me back on this bike a little bit was the weight. The geometry actually isn't too bad. It's got actually pretty decent trail geometry on the bike. It's got good standover height. But the weight is, like I said, it's about 38 pounds as it sits right now. So it's not a lightweight. Not the heaviest bike in the world, but also definitely not the lightest. So that is kind of the overview of my Mongoose Expert. It was a really good bike, and I'm going to be sad to see this one go, but I'm also glad it's finding a new home. So I know the new owner was going to enjoy it, and they're going to have a lot of fun on it, as I did, because it's a really fun bike.
Oh, and also, please excuse the mess down here as we are remodeling our basement. We are going to put in a nice little bike shop and some other little things down here, a bathroom and a little guest room. So we are in the middle of refinishing our basement. So excuse the mess.
So this is my brand new Trek Farley 5. It is 2019 frame, I believe. It is an aluminum frame. It weighs about 32 pounds-ish. It's got a carbon front fork on it, which is rigid, which is different for me. And it's got 27.5 instead of 26-inch wheels with Narwhal 4.5-inch tires. So, and they are stud ready. Why did I get this bike? Well, it's upgradable, so I plan to eventually add a front suspension fork, probably a Manitou Mastodon, and I will be adding a dropper post first thing. That's probably gonna be my first modification, is a dropper post. This bike also has points where I can hook up a bike rack or go bike packing. Has a lot of options for that. We can hold a bag, so I'm gonna stick with the rigid fork for I think at least the first year. One, because they're expensive. Two, because my wife and I have a baby on the way, and the baby's gonna get all the money. So it's gonna be a while before I can really upgrade this thing. But I did go ahead and buy it. I like the frame color. I looked at the Farley 7, but the Farley 7 was just a little too much money for what I wanted to spend. This bike came in at around $1,300, just under $1,300. The Farley 7 was around $28, $25, somewhere in that price range. So I will eventually upgrade this, but I'm gonna keep it as is for probably the first year or so. It comes with race face cranks. It comes with a proprietary Bontrager rear hub. I don't know what the engagement points are on that, which I may upgrade eventually, but I'll run with that for a while, maybe till it breaks, if it ever does. It's a 1x12, I believe, either 1x12 or 1x11, but it's a pretty nice setup. It's got SRAM level brakes, which are hydraulic. I went with this bike because I don't like the orange, the bright, obnoxious orange color of the Farley 7, but I love this color. I love this color, this kind of gray with the neon yellow or green or whatever it is. It looks pretty sick. So I had been wanting another fat bike as a backup because I knew I was going to sell the Mongoose, and this fit the bill nicely. And I was thinking about getting another fatback. I was looking at the Rhino, but I don't know when they're going to be available again. Here we are in the middle of the COVID crisis, and this one was in the store. Now this is a extra large frame. I'm used to running a large, but it felt really good. So I think Trek makes their Farley frames a little bit, like this would be a large in most people's most manufacturers' frame size, so it still feels good to me. I have really long arms, so the extra large doesn't bother me at all. I actually rented a extra large at Highland when I went to the downhill park, and it felt pretty good too. So extra large is okay for me. I'm 6 foot exactly, but my arms are like 9 feet long. So my arms literally almost touch my knees when I put them by my side. So very long arms. So the extra large frame feels okay to me. Like I said, this will mostly be used as a backup bike or a snow bike. I'm excited this winter to try the rigid fork out and compare the difference. I have wanted a Farley for a while, and I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on it and sell my other bikes. So this is what I got. So out with the old and in with the new.